Welcome to another AMA with Kadena Ecosystem. In this episode, we will be speaking with the team from Alpha Slayers Club. This conversation was recorded on February 16th, 2023, live on Twitter Spaces. The views and expressions in this AMA do not represent the views of Kadena Ecosystem directly and are not to be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research on the projects presented. Also, make sure to follow our account to be alerted of new uploads. Now let's get started. Enjoy. Welcome everybody to another AMA with Kadena Ecosystem. Today we are catching up with Alpha Slayers Club. They have recently gone through some changes, so we're here to go over those and learn about their plans for the future. So why don't we go ahead. Cameron is one of the people who has also taken over the project along with C-Rob and a couple of other awesome, amazing group people in the Kadena Ecosystem. So why don't you guys take it away and just kind of, let's maybe just start off with what happened and a brief description of where we guys are at now.
Yeah, I guess Chris, are you able to intro yourself real quick here? I'd say intro yourself real quick, and then I'll go on after.
Yeah. Chris, like someone people would say Rob or C-Rob, whatever. Trying to think.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, Chris is, or C-Rob is one of the, a massive community member, an NFT lover, an NFT creator on the ecosystem. Myself as well. I'm Cameron, better known as Cameron Bright, I guess you could say, and within the ecosystem as well. And I guess long story short was Chris and I both, as well as Church Keeper or Kadena Keeper, I think he's more known as on to the Twitter sphere, I guess I could say. He was the original, so Kadena Keeper was the original community member from the Alpha Slayers Club that was approached to take on, the massive task of reviving the project. Basically, to tie it back into the beginning times, personally, I, was keeping tabs on Alpha Slayers Club from the beginning. I mean, shoot, it would have been probably like January, February last year, when stuff really started picking up. It was in the summertime that they originally minted. Sadly, that did not go so well. It was kind of one of those things where the roots of the project were very sound. It was an alpha slaying club. It was an alpha based community, which we didn't have any of that on the Kadena ecosystem at the time. So for myself, being a part of Wrecked Gang, which is, another cross-chain kind of alpha community, I saw the potential, and I saw that there is a need and there's a want for a project like that. Sadly, it ended up that the mint the mint didn't go well. The metadata was kind of messed up. It was the whole kind of, I guess you could say the marmalade versus non-marmalade thing. The timing was just bad timing, I think, in reality. And then, problems arose. And I think for the original team, obviously I can't speak on behalf of them literally, but for the original team, or I guess I could say as a community member, it just kind of seemed like it was damage control from like day one, like the mint kind of messed up and then the team had to go into full literal damage control. And I don't know if they lost passion. I don't know if they lost kind of the original, vision or what, again, I can't speak on behalf of them specifically. I can only speak on what I noticed as a community member at the time. And really like they just, for a project that was, based off alpha and knowledge and content, they didn't produce any content, and so it really kind of just reached a point where there was no interaction, no communication, and yeah, it was a few months, like yes, they kind of recovered the mint, like all the metadata stuff got figured out, but they just I don't know, again, like I guess you could say it just seemed like they lost their passion for it, which is a shame because, again, the ecosystem for Kadena, we really need a community, a project that is community driven in my mind, that, to really drive the community and have somewhere where people can go and find like-minded individuals and learn about not only our ecosystem, but just crypto and everything, right? And we don't really have, aside from yourselves, the Kadena ecosystem and such, we don't really have, a project that's kind of driving that narrative. We have certain projects that have good communities, but their main goal is other than, just sharing alpha and stuff, right? So I guess long story short, again, that led to, like, Chris and I we were just talking, personally, privately, and we were trying to get kind of our own project going. We actually applied for the community grant and everything, as far as, with Kadena Kongs as well, and Alpha Slayers both being kind of in that, rut, so to speak, or the inactive phase. We felt that there was, a void that needed to be filled. That we then started chatting with Andre from Hypercent, who Hypercent has partnered with Alpha Slayers from the beginning. And obviously, well, not obviously, I should say, but it was nice to see that they care, like they feel somewhat responsible, as they should. They were the platform that technically it didn't go so well on, and so on and so forth. So they feel somewhat responsible, and they want Alpha Slayers to be successful. So that led to us having a conversation about, basically, why would Chris and I, or C Rob and I, want to start all, like, from ground one, when basically we got propositioned to say, like, would you want to join the team of Alpha Slayers instead? So for us, it was definitely kind of like, okay, well, me, myself, as a community member, I originally minted Alpha Slayers. I actually minted a 1 of 1, so I'm hyped. Like, I want it to do well. I have the love there. And again, being a part of, sort of the same type of projects on other chains and seeing the success of them, again, like, I see it very viable. It just needs that vision and needs the passion, breathed back into it in reality, right? And so, yeah, it was kind of an easy decision, for, I don't know about Chris, but for myself, it was kind of like, I've been looking for stuff to do, and now I've got stuff to do, but yeah, so it's I'm sure we'll chat more. That, I guess, is, I don't know, my long-winded introduction to how we got introduced to the project and involved, and yeah, we'll chat more, I guess.
For sure. It's the way I'm looking at it from the outside in, like a lot of people are, because, like you said there, you can't really speak to the previous project managers as to what their initial goals and ambitions and stuff were. But I always did love the idea. And like you said, there isn't something where where you can go somewhere and find out alpha news about not just Kadena, but other ecosystems, and then just crypto in general. But I think the problem that they ran into was, like you said, they just, every time they kept trying to take a step forward, they were pushed back 2 steps. And it just kind of became this onward thing where they were always fighting this uphill battle to get the project righted onto the right path. And I think, like you said, maybe it just burned them out to the point where, like, they just couldn't really keep up with it and didn't really want to deal with it anymore. And just kind of, but at least I will say this, a lot of projects that get into those situations just say, fuck it, take the money and run. Next thing you know, their Twitter's gone, their Discord server's gone, and these people did the right thing and decided to hand it over to the community and say, okay, we did our best and things didn't go the way we wanted it to, but the bones for the project are still there. There's still the community that's behind it. And I think a lot of really great decisions have been made since they came to that realization. For anyone that hasn't been part of this and following it along, if you join the Alpha Slayers Discord, there's a great post by Yeti, one of the former members, explaining the situation. And he explains it very well, very honest. And I don't think they, I think it hurt them to have to do this. I don't think they wanted to really do this, but they knew that it was kind of the right thing for the project and for the community. So let's talk about a few things that were put in place, because like one of the examples is some people were like, screw this, I just want my money back and I'm going to get the hell out of this community. I don't want to be part of this. And luckily that is kind of an option for people, but there's also options for people to continue along with the project in the community. So why don't we go over a few of those aspects?
Yeah, and so as you're saying, my initial thought, I mean, as an investor, again, as an original minter, we need to bring value back to the project. And in my mind, it's kind of an easy solution. The value in the project is in the content that the project provides, which for the last 4 or 5 months, there hasn't been any content, which if you're an alpha content based project and you have no alpha, in my mind, you have no value, and so we very much need a community and we need those people to help us drive our value. It's really the hive mind mentality and benefits that we're trying to sell people on, So again, it kind of goes hand in hand with myself personally doing the spaces and everything. It gave me a chance. Well, now I have a platform to do that through and provide content through a platform. As an investor, it's like, okay, now I can also kind of pamp my own bags, hey, but it's one of those things again where, yeah, there was huge questions, there was very much people just wanted their money back, like you said, and they want to run, right? But we also have people that really just want to hold them. Like we do have hardcore members, OG members in that community that want to see the project succeed. And so that's what we're going off of now is we've actually, so they ended up, as you said, the original project, which as you said, again, I would say is pretty much unheard of, but they did end up giving a refund. So for those that haven't checked, if you did originally mint an Alpha Slayers, go check your wallet. I think it was on chain 0, 1, or 8, but they've basically not full refund. I think some people got like 60%, but I think it was upwards of 80% refund. So you basically got all your KDA back and you still own every Alpha Slayer that you owned. So we've essentially turned into a free mint because all the funds have been given back. Well, most of the funds, I should say. Sadly, of course, I think Kadena was, closer to like $2 or $3 when we minted. So, if you want to be weird about it, then you could say that you didn't get all your money back, but you got most of your Kadena back. but yeah, so again, I honestly didn't even expect the refund to happen. The fact that it did, it really, for me, as being one of the people trying to rebuild this project, it really just went miles for us, because it's just goodwill in my mind from the original project. It's like you said, it's like they didn't want to be, for lack of a better term, assholes about it, right? They didn't want to screw over the community, and they want, I'm sure, in a few months, hopefully, when we're back rolling and everything, the original team will come back and be like, hey, look at what we built. In reality, they set the groundwork and we just have to continue their work. And, I think coming from the community, from a community member, I think that's all we need right now, is the community drive, community content. And, once we bring that back to the project, in my mind, it's that kind of organic growth sort of thing, right? Like, there's a demand that we can fill, we can meet the demands. We just need to, meet said demands. So, it's one of those things where, yeah, again, it's, it's sad to say, glad to say, whatever you want to say, but it's kind of, for myself, at least I thought of it as kind of a win-win situation as well, where it's kind of like, sad to say, but the project was, in theory dead. It was very much, up shit creek without a paddle, so to speak. So in my mind, it's kind of like, we're the relief crew. We're the ones that are going to try to make this happen. And hopefully the community sees that as, if, in 3-4 months, we haven't been able to revive this project. Hopefully they're not mad at us. Hopefully it's one of those things where we're going to try our damnedest, and, we'll see what happens. Right. But yeah, there's plenty of things to do. It's an interesting, I've even just thinking about starting a collection rather than starting a collection halfway through. It's nice to have all these NFTs and have all these things, but yeah, it's like, how do we bring value to a project that right now, even in my eyes, has no value? It's like, okay, we have cool art, but sad to say, like, that ship has sailed. We can't sell projects based off art, well, some maybe, but not this one, so again, like, we have a lot of work to do, and it's really, but in my mind, I guess, to tie back to what I was saying, is it comes back down to just the roots of the project and content and alpha. And so that's what we will be focusing on from now on, at least in these first couple months. It's not like, oh, how do I, sell my 4 Slayers and get all my money back so I can just, wash my hands of this project and be done with it. Right. It's like, no, like, we need to sustain this project. We need to make it viable. We need to bring value back. And once we do that for the project, then all the holders will get their value, So I guess, yeah, again, I'll rant and rant, but I'll stop there.
I think one of the things that's going to really help out coming forward in the next little while will be the launch of the marketplace on Hypercent. There, like you said, there's going to be people that are going to want, the refund, or the 60 to 80% refund wasn't enough. I want to sell these things, get them out of my wallet, and just move on. But I think that's going to actually maybe turn around and help you guys in a way, because that's going to weed out the people who you can tell were only in it for the money, didn't really care about the underlying project or the utility cases behind it, and were just in it to flip. And, to those people, to each their own, do whatever you want. It's your money. You can spend it as you want. You can do whatever you want with your NFTs. But the fact that you guys are trying to push forward with the original ethos of Alpha Slayers is really what people need to look at and understand, that, it isn't just about these really cool looking rabbits. There's so much more that this project, from the very beginning, when they first came up with the concept, was about. And like you said, it's just a shame that things went the way they did, and the timing of the whole thing, just with like market crashing, FTX news, all this other just poor news that just put crypto into this like dark, abysmal kind of space for a couple of months there. And but it's good to see that you guys are, taking charge and trying to dig yourselves out of that. So you're almost starting from scratch, but in the same sense, you're not starting from scratch. You have these bare bones to build upon, and there's really a lot that you guys can go with from here. I feel like lots of space to grow, and lots of chances to, build the community even stronger with the people who are essential and the people who really believe in the entire ethos of the project.
Oh, for sure. And it's one of those things where, speaking on, I guess, behalf of myself as well, but it's, yeah, I hate to say it, but the people that are still in that Discord, they are the true OGs, like, they're there because they want to be there. I'll tell you that right now. So, yeah, it's one of those things where, again, like, a lot of people, the biggest headaches are the launch and the mint and, when secondary and all that fun stuff, which we kind of get to bypass, so we do, like, in my mind, it's something where literally our only issue is bringing back value to this project, which, again, all we really need to do is start making content, and what's nice is, it's taking, in reality, it's taking inspiration from other chains too. It's one of those things where, Alpha Slayers from the beginning was a, quote unquote cross chain community. Right. And that's one of those things where even that, it's like, we need to almost simplify to the most, where it's like, okay, why don't we just start with Alpha on the Kadena ecosystem. You know, it's like, let's get that going first, and then we start worrying about cross-chain. You know, it's like, if we're at home on an ecosystem that technically right now isn't even cross-chain, then like, why are we even worried about handling cross-chain news? You know, it's like, let's corner the market, so to speak, on Kadena information, and then let's move on from there, right? And it's even that, like, we are very much doing this almost, I guess you could say, modular to a degree. You know, it's like, even over the past couple weeks, we've been the quote unquote new owners, but we've had to wait for the refund to happen. And, you know, again, to tie back into past promises made, I guess you could say, is it's kind of one of those things where, of course, I understand, you know, 6 months ago when you originally minted, you expected to get an airdrop after. Well, like, we're now a free mint. So people have to realize that, like, there are no funds. Actually, I think we're like deficit funds because the original owners actually double sent transactions. So we're actually out, Kadena. So we're literally starting in the red right now, and we need to get into the black. And that's not going to happen by airdropping the rest of the collection to everyone who potentially could also be dead wallets, right? Like, we could literally have people who minted just one or two of them years ago, or not years ago, months ago. And then those people don't even care about it anymore. They say, whatever, my $60 is gone, and they don't care. Well, what happens when we airdrop them 2 new Slayers? Are they just going to sit there, or is even going to see the light of day, right? And so it's certain things like that where, like, we had to do that. Apologies, but like, the original roadmap is kind of like don't pay attention to it, because we have to rebuild this project. You know, yes, we have the NFTs and everything, but the way that it's going to be structured from now on is going to be very different. You know, it might have to be like, you know, our airdrop will now be possibly a second collection. You know, it won't be you getting airdropped your, you know, alpha slayers, but instead you'll get our second collection. All holders will get a free mint, and everyone else will have to mint on public, and that will be our secondary collection. Whatever, you know, really going forward, there's plenty of options. You know, it's really just choosing the right ones, you know, which I guess is everyone's dilemma, you know. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, and that's the thing, is at the end of the day, we're thinking of it as a community. You know, yes, we have to, you know, in my mind, it goes hand in hand, right? You, again, I've said it plenty of times, but you bring value to the project, that brings value to the NFT, that brings value to the holders. So that's where my focus is bring value back to the project, you know?
For sure. I'm sure, like you said, there's lots of people that are still supporting Alpha Slayers. I also, like you, have been following it from day one, and there's still lots of room to grow. It's just a matter of finding the people who want to grow along with it. And like you said, the people who are still sticking around right now are definitely the true OGs. And it'll be nice to see where things go from here. I see that Hypercent has joined up and wants to maybe join in the conversation. I don't know if you guys have something that you want to add. Go right ahead.
Hi everybody, Andre here. Nice being here. Yeah, I was listening to what Kim was saying. That indeed the Slayers are a bit in minus, but not really the Slayers, because we will cover the expenses of the, let's say, wrong refunds of the old team in a very funny way. You know, I have participated in this sale as a normal user, so I bought some hype of KDEX and, you know, got some lottery tickets and bought 7 Slayers with my own Kadena. And in a very funny way, I'm one of the 3 addresses that did not get a refund, but totally random. So from my part, that's a write-off, and we'll try to cover up the rest as Hypercent. It's not so much; it's maybe like 300 Kadena or something, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't that funny? He's also Andre's also been buying Slayers already on the test net, so we've got
And
value.
actually,
We've got volume.
I bought a 500 Kadena Slayer from one of our users who's testing the marketplace. We are testing with a couple of users, and very grateful for their help with feedback and such. And yeah, I mean, this guy just put the Slayer up to sell, and I just fell in love with it and bought it.
But
You're
yeah,
going to
so I
see
guess
it someday.
to add to that as well is, yeah, like another key fact, is, not to only talk about alpha slayers, but again, the ecosystem, right? We had, with our NFT projects, we had that, sad to say, but the dark days, I guess you could say. I wasn't a fan of the whole marmalade versus non-marmalade fight and everything. And I do feel that, that whole debacle, I guess you could say, it really hurt our ecosystem as a whole, and it was very prevalent in the fact that clearly certain projects that went with marmalade, it not to their fault, but marmalade wasn't ready, and we saw it with Mintit. Hypercent obviously had their issues, but that's what they're working out. And that's what's nice about alpha slayers is we are kind of, not the only phoenix rising from the ashes, but we are literally going to be the featured collection on Hypercent's marketplace when they go. And for those that don't know, Hypercent, when they do launch, they will have all the Mintit or marmalade-based NFTs available.
Actually, yeah, I wanted to mention that it is a bit, sorry to interrupt you. The Mintit collection, we have been talking to some of them, pretty unresponsive lately, and I can understand why, since, Mintit kind of, let's say, they didn't go on with their plans, lightly put.
Ghosted?
Yeah, and basically those collections are a bit problematic from some perspectives. Some of them, even like the IPFS links images, are not there anymore. So we would have to probably have some dev work on those as well to help them integrate in our marketplace. But we are very happy to try to help them out, and especially the people who bought this collection to try to make sure that they are tradable on our platform. So if anybody who basically is a collection owner on Mintit hears this, maybe they should check their DMs or DM us,
Yeah, I'll make sure to spread that news too. We'll do a PSA, do a good old PSA and get everyone, because that's the thing, is it's a shame to see, again, it's, how you launch stuff, how you do things, whatever, right? Again, I'm not going to, completely smash Mintit by any means, but it's one of those things where I do think that they kind of, took on too much at once. Like they launched their marketplace and all of a sudden there was like 40 projects on their marketplace. And it was like, you didn't even know what to buy at that point. And I feel like it was kind of to detriment to the projects that they had launching, It's like you really want to give projects their time of day so you can actually get people hyped on it and into it, right? Rather than like, here's 40 projects to pick from at once, right? It's like, so again, like, I guess for yourself, turn it around on you, Andre. What are you looking forward to? And what do you guys think that Hypercent's going to bring to, the NFT game that we haven't necessarily seen on Kadena yet?
Anyways, so yeah, basically, you said earlier that Marmalade wasn't ready. To be honest, we are actually building on Marmalade code that was ready a while ago, but we kind of were able to build on that. It was ready if you know how to build on it. You just needed to know how to build on it, to have good devs that know how to create smart things. Think outside the box. So it started with the Alpha Slayers mint, which actually went very well on the technical side. It went very well. They did make some mistakes, the Slayers, with the metadata, which was not something on our end. But even with that, we were able to create a function where you fix your NFT, which basically meant that since you cannot fix an NFT, you basically burned the old NFT and minted a new one from the exact one you had, but from the right collection. So yeah, our first experience with Marmalade was superb. It worked even with this, with this extra feature. As for the marketplace, yeah, we've been building for a couple of months. We've been focusing on having a very clean user experience where people really understand how to buy, sell, bid, stuff like that. I don't want to like let's say give out too much before the launch, but yeah, we want to make it a social experience where people see each other trading, where because everybody knows everybody from Twitter, from their photos, from their covers, from Telegram. So let's say we're looking into some special features on the social side. And yeah, the marketplace is right around the corner, and I think that people will enjoy it. And it's the old egg hen situation. Why would you build a marketplace when there's no collections around? Why would you build collection where there's no marketplace around? And I think now that there have been a lot of collection launched on Marmalade, not all of them very successful, but there's a start. Now there will be a marketplace for them, which I think will restart the Kadena NFT ecosystem, which, let's say, some little birdie told me that is going to have everybody on Marmalade. And I don't want to say more. But
I think, like you said, the profile feature is actually really cool. When you were explaining it to me, I immediately thought of my boy C-Rob, and I was like, well, yeah, it's one of those things where it's, they do that with investment platforms these days and everything now, where you can follow certain investors, right? And you basically piggyback off their trades. Now could be the same idea with your marketplace and NFT holders, right? If you have a person who is all over NFTs like Chris or C-Rob is, it's like I can now follow him and see what he's buying into and then buy into that and so on, right? So yeah, it's just a cool feature, and it's just something, in my mind, it's something very simple thought process wise that, yeah, like it's gonna, it'll drive people to there just for that feature, right? And I mean, I hate to say it, but people like showing off their profile pics, right? So you snap that one, well, bam, now you get to show everyone on your profile that you have it, right? So yeah, again, I think it's a cool feature for sure. Sorry, I think someone.
People look for.
Go ahead.
People look for opinion leaders when it comes to NFTs. So why not? People wants to see what the real OGs are buying and what they're looking for, and I think this would easily drive the message and easily help other people understand the market and so on. So yeah,
I think that from what I've seen, very easily used, and it looks beautiful. I like it. I'm not going to let it out anything, but playing around with it, it's been like a smooth, easy experience, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I can agree with that too. I've had a look at the marketplace as well, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I messed around with a couple things, put in a bid here and there just to see, make sure it worked and everything. And I was just like, wow, this is really smooth, really beautiful. You guys have done a really good job, and I know that the community is just going to go ape when they see this new marketplace come to light. It's going to be just amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey guys.
Thanks for helping testing it out. Actually, it was amazing to have all that feedback, and I actually handpicked everybody testing. There were no rules. I just went to people I knew. They were trustful, not to leak stuff like images, for example. And it went well. I mean, for example, I did share it with about 10 people, and we have 50 users on the marketplace. So it did went well.
Everyone's already setting up their bots. But yeah, so Denver, you've had your hand up for a little bit there. Feel free, and then we'll get the TSN there.
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Great.
Just at work.
Cool. Yeah, I originally bought Kadena in like May, or maybe it was June of 2021. I put in I think I had like 4,000 or something. But anyways, yeah, I rode the wave up and the wave down. I was kind of thinking more of like global adoption at that point, kicking myself for not selling some of it. But yeah, I think it's just so cheap. Now, I was wondering so I've been kind of following the miner things, like all the KD box, KD5, KD6, all these different ones. I kind of want to invest in a miner. But do you guys have any advice on that? Or should I just like sit back for a little bit? Because I really do want to mine Kadena.
Yeah, I mean,
K3 was
myself,
the only other thing.
myself, like I got into Kadena, I got into crypto actually by mining Kadena. I bought, kind of much like yourself, not the coin, but I bought a KD5. Like, what my timing, man? Not this time last year, 2 years ago. What's the year? Yeah, 2021. I'm like, probably bought it sometime around, 2021. But no, basically, yeah, like I was one of those guys where I spent $15,000 on a KD5 and everyone called me batshit crazy. And then all of a sudden, 2 months later, my $15,000 machine was worth 55,000 resale value. And everyone was like, where do I get one? And I was like, well, you called me crazy 2 months ago. You don't get none, So it's just one of those things. But if I can tie that back into a recommendation, I would say, yeah, like the mining industry, I should say, is exactly like the crypto marketplace. So when we're in a bear market, it's time to buy miners. That's all I'll say. Not financial advice, but yeah, make sure to not like. All I'd say is wait for the actual official drop or pay regular prices. Don't go through a reseller. They'll literally just jack the price by double and that's that. It's worth it to just wait and get into conversations. Like, feel free to reach out to me privately, the K Cameron Bright there, Denver, and I can put you in a couple of conversations that have, at least better resellers, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's that's a whole nother conversation in reality.
Actually,
but all I'll say is if you want to get into mining, get into it while it's cheap, which now the coin is cheap, long story short.
Is any one of
miner
our miners more quiet than others? So my wife would be like, what's that buzzing sound or whatever,
Oh, I can send you a video of my KD5, and I can only imagine that the KA3 would be very loud. But yeah, they also double as a heater for your house if you're able to, position it properly and get the airflow going right. You can literally heat your house with the thing. So, there's that.
I've seen them vented actually into aircon units.
So I have my Kadena in the Zelcore wallet. Is there a different wallet, or can you stake Kadena? Currently, all I'm staking is my Terra Classic and Terra 2.0, which I love the rewards from it. But yeah, I want to know if there's staking.
Good old Terra Classic.
I know that. Yeah, Coin Metro did have.
Let's not talk about Luna. In reality, I think really the only staking per se would be on CADEX or whatnot. You know what I mean? Basically LP sort of stuff. I don't know if you can.
I know Coin Metro
right now. I think it's stake factory.
So, yeah, it's not built around inflation with the type of big APIs, as it is proof of work. So probably LP, as Camby was saying, would be a viable option for that,
Yeah, well, and I think as well, especially with the recent SEC, POS nonsense, I highly doubt. That's one thing I will just say about Kadena as a company and a project and a team is that they're literally based out of New York, so they are in crypto hell, and so they understand that regulations come first pretty much. And so I highly doubt they're ever even going to go anywhere near proof of stake because of that reason. They won't want to stake because staking right now, even, we have no idea what's going to happen with regulations. That's all I'm going to say.
Also with the miners, he was asking earlier, there's also the learning curve of having to set up your miner. And I think that if the NFT mining stuff is honest, it's a good honest project. I think you're easier off because they can get cheaper electricity, they can get more out of these miners. So having it yourself, we have a KD5 as well, and we have heard it's a F16 sounds, and I think that for example the Blocks guys, I was talking to them a couple of days ago. They're going to mint on Marmalade, so if you don't get into the sale, you're probably going to see them on Hypercent marketplace as well, just after they finish their reveal later
So does
on.
Kadena still run 50?
No,
50? Can you hear me?
you cut
I
out
got a phone
halfway
call.
through
Sorry
there.
about
Sorry.
that. So I think I was also like Ryan Mata had actually found Kadena right after I did. So I was actually following him a little bit on some of his stuff about Kadena. I don't notice that he puts any other YouTube videos out there, but I remember getting some info from him about like Stuart Haber, like being cited by Nakamoto and how they have patent. I was wondering, asking you guys, do they still have like patents on this scalable proof of work technology?
That I personally do not know, but I would imagine so. Like the reality is that not necessarily Stuart. Stuart's more of, I think, kind of like the godfather of crypto as far as the Kadena team. But the reality is their background is from JP Morgan. Like they literally worked for JP Morgan and they built JPM coin or whatever. It's called like Juno now or something. I can't even remember. But basically,
He is cited. He is cited in the Bitcoin white paper.
I would say that if anything, they're probably going to patent their shit, because if they've dealt with anything with JP Morgan, they probably understand the viability of patenting your shit. But I don't know. That's just personal opinion, I guess.
So thanks for fielding my questions. I have another question. So when I look at Kadena on KuCoin, it says it's in the Cosmos ecosystem. Do you guys know anything about that? Does it run like Tendermint at all, or is that all proof of stake talk?
It's interesting. Like, I don't know. I'm one of those people that I do not like KuCoin because of how they treated Kadena. But as far as I know, they've been partnered with Cosmos, and in the fact that they've wanted to be IBC compatible from day one, but I don't think the bridges are there yet. So yes, they want to be a part of Cosmos, pardon me. And I think once Kadena goes cross-chain, I would almost kind of guarantee that Cosmos will be the first, other network that we get involved with. I mean, I guess I could say I hope so, just because it makes sense. It's like Cosmos is kind of one of those things where once you're able to bridge to Cosmos, you can kind of bridge to anywhere through Cosmos. So, yeah, again, I'm not a Kadena team member, but as far as I know, they want to do that, but I don't think it's functioning right now.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I was thinking, like, if you have scalable proof of work, solve the trilemma basically of crypto, I wouldn't see the need to even do cross-chain stuff, but I guess I'm just kind of grasping it.
That's a top of the funnel for new users, man. But that would be a top of the funnel for new users. Connectability is, it gets you new users from other chains, which is not
you don't want it to narrow down your market.
So, that's a good point. So that was the other thought I had. Like, it's Haskell based, and so is Cardano. I don't know any other blockchains out there, but if we could just get some more of those developers from Cardano to come to Kadena, that'd be rad.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of one of, this is something, in reality we could chat about for days, and it's something that has been a topic in, most of the Kadena conversations that I'm in, and it's just one of those things where, Kadena is just, it's very much like the turtle and the hare, where I feel like a lot of other people very much are, the rabbit trying to win the race, and very much Kadena is the turtle who's slow and steady, and that's what's tough right now, is for a lot of builders and a lot of devs. They look at the crypto world as that exactly. Like, they need to make money and they want to make money, and sadly they want to do it right now. And so to make money right now on Kadena isn't necessarily the easiest thing. Like, we are very much a niche chain still, and we're in a niche world because everyone just wants to buy a shit coin and stake it for 100% APY or whatever, right? Which just isn't a thing on Kadena. You know, it's there, those hype clickbaity, you know, shit coins and meme coins that are going to 100x. Well, sadly, those just aren't on Kadena right now. You know what I mean? And that's 95% of the crypto investing world right now is all chasing gains, right? And so for builders to come over here, it's like they have to want to come over here, you know, and that's it's kind of like a double-edged sword almost, you know. It's like there's a point where organic growth needs to be supplemented, you know? And so that's kind of, I think, where we're at right now in the ecosystem. And that's, I guess, to tie it back into Alpha Slayers, that is what we're going to be trying to do as a project, you know, is bring that information and that knowledge so folks like yourself don't need to look for it, right? Builders can come into the Alpha Slayers and we can show them what's building and what's being built and what they can do, you know? It's just that, you know, it's just that, you know, we just need a bit of, you know, I don't know, interaction, I guess you could say, right? It's just one of those things, you know? But, you know, if to tie back to Kadena and mining and stuff, for most people, you look at Bitcoin, you look at the hash rate. The hash rate tells all. Our hash rate has been steadily going up. So people are buying miners and people are definitely mining Kadena. So, you know, I guess that's the food for thought, I guess you could say.
I think it goes steadily up. It skyrocketed, man. When we started mining, I think it was at 50. And now it's close to 500, if I'm not wrong. It was like 470 yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. It's been pretty crazy for sure. And that's, you know, and it's a shame with the mining world, you know, like I was one of those people that, I like put like most of my life savings into a miner and literally took the nesty plunge and hoped for the best. And some could say I took an educated guess. Some could say I got lucky, whatever, right? But it's one of those things where the rich people in the world, the people that don't care about the money, they're buying up all the fucking miners right now. Pardon my French. But you know, and that's just the name of the game, right? Is they understand that they can buy 20 of these miners right now for cheap, plug them in, make some of their money back. And as soon as the markets go 100%, well, their miners are 100% more resale value. So they just plug them in, run them for 2 months and wait, because they have that luxury of waiting for the markets to get better. And then they just resell their machines and keep the Kadena that they've mined over the last 3 months, right? So it's kind of, you know, it's again, like even proof of work is a double-edged sword, because if you don't have the money to buy the miners, or if you're not set up to buy said miners at the right time, you're going to lose out. And you know, you can talk about decentralization, but if there's only, you know, 1% of the world that can afford 100 miners at a time, and the other 99% can only buy one miner, well, you're not very decentralized. You know, if 4 people own 80% of the miners out there, you know, like, so again, it's one of those things where mining is super empowering and super crazy, but it's definitely like any other investment, I would say, is it, you know, it's all timing and preparation, you know, what is it? Proper preparation beats poor planning, or whatever. I can't remember what the hell that is, but yeah.
16. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance.
Yeah, there you go. That's the one. Too many P's for me, but yeah. But no, and I see Joshua up there. We'll probably be getting ready to finish this up, so feel free there, Joshua.
Wow. I could listen to you keep on talking, but thank you for having me up. Brian, thanks for asking that question about, I've seen the Atom, the Cosmos linked to KDA, and thanks for clarifying so some of the hopes and wishes of that. And I appreciate what you're doing with Alpha Slayers. That I wasn't in time for that movement, but I'm going to be on the lookout for that, because trying to resurrect something that it speaks volumes of what you're doing and how you feel about that community, the KDA community as a whole. sticking on the topic of miners, one thing that really grabbed my attention was when I first got in a couple months ago, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, was the NFT mining communities that it did have. And I jumped into a couple, and there's still this waiting game. I don't want to pull this into that direction, but I mean, are there thoughts on that? I mean, to drop 20 grand for me and seeing the potential of joining some of these communities that already have the knowledge, or the cells out there, they pay for the electricity, they have the knowledge, the this is and that's, that's huge. And I've always wanted to be a miner, but I don't know if I have the capability, but do I have the time? Do I have everything that it takes?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I wish I could tell you that when I ordered my miner, the work stopped there, but that's where the work started. It's one of those things where, like I said, I took literally the nesty plunge. Like, I dropped 15 grand on my KD5, and that was my first investment into crypto, basically. Like, I hadn't even made a Web3 wallet, and I spent 15 grand on my miner, right? So
what if you dropped 15 grand on Bitcoin at that time? Did you run those numbers?
No, but I did run the numbers. I did run the numbers of, if I had have spent that 15,000 on Kadena, the coin, I would have cleaned house. but it's.
My friend comes in and says, "Are you running those?" I'm like, "I don't know. I want to set it and forget it type of thing."
Yeah. So my thing. So personally, I shouldn't say as like alpha slayers, or it's personal opinion. I do not believe in any of the mining NFT projects. I'll just say that off the jump, and it's just because for me, the numbers do not equate, and they. How do I say this without literally shit talking all of them? But I can't. Basically, they sell everyone on hopium. But what they're doing is they own those miners. And that's that. You know what I mean? I don't want to name names, but I think as of right now, the maximum you're getting as far as terahash for a mining NFT on Kadena is only like 1 or 2 terahash. Do the math on that. The KA3 only costs at retail prices, which those mining NFTs definitely are connected, and they definitely are buying them, if not retail, very close to. So let's say they're buying them at full price right now, which is about $10,000. Well, for $10,000, they are getting 100 terahash. Roughly, I think it's like 130 or something like that is a damn KA3. So break that down. If you're selling me an NFT that has 1 terahash of power and you're selling it to me for $200, how much money are you making off that damn 100 terahash? What, like $40,000 almost, selling me $200 per 1 terahash? That's one machine. Well, with those NFTs, they get to buy 10 new miners, but they're not linking those new 9 miners to fucking NFTs. No, you know what I mean? So again, like, not shit talking any of them or the investors in them or the mentality behind it, because I get the idea of it's a daunting task hosting, setting them up, getting your power supply. I mean, unless you're in the EU, which you're already 240 or whatever, so you're fine. But like for us in North America, I had to get a new breaker installed. I had to have a new plug installed. Like I had to do all these things. And then you realize the power costs and all this fun stuff. But it's like, you own that miner. Like I was that guy where I bought my miner for 15 grand, could have sold it for 55. I wrote it down, but I resold my miner for 12. So I took a 3,000 deficit just on the purchase and resale, but I ran my miner for 6 months. So I made money off of that. Whereas with mining NFTs, I'd spend I guess I could say it anyways, because I'm not shit talking them. If anything, it's good on them. But like I remember when KMC minted, they had some dude literally, and I'm not going to say it's real or not. I think it was a bot or they bought them themselves, but they had some dude or person or whoever spend $30,000 on their mining NFTs. And I was like, why the fuck would you spend $30,000 on a mining NFT when you could have just bought a miner? Like, you know, and it was just in my mind, it's like, what? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And so it's just one of those things where it's like, to each their own, you know, some things for me, for investments, I'll look at it and just laugh, but other people will look at that and see opportunity, right? So again, it's to each their own, and my thoughts are my thoughts and my opinions, but that's my opinion on mining NFTs, I guess you could say, is if you're, you know, in theory, they're going against every proof of work basis. You know what I mean? They're not decentralized. They have one person who's buying a bunch of miners for 1,000 people. Well, those 1,000 people don't control those miners. All they have is an NFT. And in theory, royalties, which they're paying out, that's technically a security and could be seen as properly illegal in the SEC's mind. So these mining NFTs and everything, like their whole shebang could be dismantled overnight. And what sucks is when they get dismantled, when they get shut down, like there's just so many variables for them. There's so many variables as a miner, let alone someone who's running a mining farm. Like say they set up, you know, I'm in British Columbia. Well, we're a very green thinking province. What if I set up a mining farm, and then all of a sudden my city gets a bunch of complaints because of the noise or the heat outprint or whatever? Some climate group gets mad at me. Well, what happens when they shut me down? Do I message my people and say, oh, sorry, we got shut down by the city, so, you know, we'll send you guys your money in a couple months? It's like, no, they'll be like, we shut down, sorry. And they'll resell all those miners, collect a fat check, and then just walk away with all your money. And you just have a dumb JPEG that was linked to a miner at one point in time, right? So it's, you know, for me, there's just, you're basically, yeah, long story short, all I'm going to say is for me, for buying into NFTs and projects, there's better investments than trying to catch a year return on investment on $200. Like, why the fuck are we investing into crypto if all you're going to get is $200 back off $200 in a year? You know what I mean? And that's kind of like where I'm at with the ROIs and the mining NFT realm. Is just the numbers don't add up to me. Long-winded rant there.
Well, I'm gonna pour a double scotch and put a double whiskey on top of it. And
but anyways,
where were you a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I was not in the KMC chat. No, but it's one of those things where, again, like it's again where I believe in the idea. You know what I mean? I get it, and I understand the draw behind it and the value. But yeah, for me, I would further, being that person who owned a miner and was a miner, like at this point, I would say, get a fucking Flux node. You know what I mean? Like there are ways to start mining without owning a physical miner. Like you can start a node on Flux and be making 7 different coins with their parallel assets just by starting up a Flux node, right?
I'm working on it. You know how
yeah,
hard it was for me the other morning to even try to deposit.
Yeah. but you know what I mean? It's,
wallet.
yeah, that's all I'm saying, though, is mining is a large industry and there's a lot of ways to get into it, right? Like it was one of those things, too, where people would say, why didn't I start with GPU mining? Well, because at the time, it was early 2021. We were in the middle of the chip crisis and the chip shortage. So for me to get like a pre-built, you know, I'm not a techie. I could probably piece something together with YouTube videos and shit, but I didn't trust myself. I didn't want to blow up 15 grand. So I was like, I'm just going to get something made by someone else, please. But yeah, so at the time, for me to get a 6 card, like 6 GPU, which they're normally like 6, 8, or 12, I think, or something like that. But basically, for me to get something relevant that was worth it, it was like 12 grand, $12,000 to $15,000, because it was like $2,000 per card. So I was like, oh, well, ASICs are that price too. So I might as well just look at an ASIC, right? And so that's kind of what led me down that rabbit hole, so to speak. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. We'll have plenty more chats, with Alpha Slayers. Like this is kind of, again, like me myself, I was doing plenty of spaces and project highlights. And so what's nice is now I just get to do it underneath a project banner rather than just myself. So again, like these are the conversations that we want to have. Sadly, of course, I've got another meeting I got to go to, but we're getting on that point where, yeah, I personally can talk about this stuff for hours, so I need to stop myself more or less.
Yeah, thanks for your info. We'll have to catch up later.
Yeah, as I said, my personal account is in here right now. So K Cameron Bright, feel free to DM me on there, and yeah, we can chat about stuff forever. And hop into the Discord, the Alpha Slayers Discord as well. I guess to tie it back to Alpha Slayers as well is that's the main goal is as of right now, there's no gating, there's no fees. You don't have to own an Alpha Slayer to be in the Alpha Slayers Discord. Don't have to, that's from now on, you will like our value to our holders will be valued for holders, but our information, our knowledge, everything that we are trying to do will be accessible and free to everyone. Simple as that. It'll be more like if you want to be in the DAO, if you want to make proposals, if you want to, we're going to do like bounties and stuff like that eventually once we get some funds in. So if you want to get like monetary payouts for those bounties, you'll be a holder, like stuff like that, right? So we're going to bring value to the holders with the DAO to earn model. So we want activity and we want participation, and we will benefit, or you as an individual will benefit from your participation in the project. That's what we're going for, because again, it's the hive mind mentality is what we need, right? So again, we want all these conversations in there. We want all this info to be readily available. Just come to our Discord to find it, kind of thing, right? So again, feel free to come by and check us out and ask questions, because that's hopefully what we're here for.
Well, this has been quite the conversation. We learned a lot more than just Alpha Slayer news here, even dropping like actual alpha, kind of doing what you guys are wanting to do and bringing knowledge and bringing education to the community just even right now through doing these spaces. So that's very awesome to hear. We probably should just wrap it up though, because it has been a long time. But I want to thank you guys for stopping by. I want to thank Cameron, C-Rob, everyone for joining in, everyone for coming in and joining in with the questions and the comments and everything. It's been absolutely great. Make sure you guys follow the Alpha Slayers Club here on Twitter, join their Discord, get involved, because I got a feeling there's going to be a lot of really cool things coming down really soon in the pipeline. And the more people that get involved, the better it's all going to be. So once again, thank you absolutely for everyone for joining us. It's been an absolutely great conversation.
Yeah, and thanks for having us as well there, Eco, and we'll definitely have more of these chats and again, to everyone out there, just come and check us out. Again, we're community for the community by the community, so we are open ears and open arms, so to speak. We're doing everything, again, like we're trying to make it happen, right? So it's, we're very much open ears to all suggestions. We'll consider everything, and I guess that's a shout out to Kadena Keeper and C-Rob and Lazo as well, who has stayed on. So yeah, it's going to take a bit of time, but luckily we're not even on secondary for another week, like couple weeks, I think. So yeah, we're slowly putting together a plan to revive it. But what's nice is if you want to think about the alpha and everything, there hasn't been a single space or interaction on the Alpha Slayers Club in 3 months or something like that. We took control officially a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and we've done now a couple spaces and we're starting to get things going. So if it's any, indication of anything, all you have to do is see that we're doing stuff, we're actually doing stuff, we're out there, and we will be building upon it, as much as we can. And right now it's all, none of us are getting paid. It's all for the project. That's that, so we're just out here trying to make it happen.
Thanks for having us, guys. And let's all get ready for the NFT party that's about to restart on Kadena.
For sure, it's gonna be
Kadena NFT season V2.
Kadena NFT spring, man. March is just around the corner.
Yeah.
Yep.
More like Kadena NFT season Groundhog Day.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for everyone for joining up. I'm sure there's going to be more spaces with Alpha Slayers coming up because they've got lots of things in the works. Hopefully, maybe we can hook up with Hypercent and once they launch their marketplace and do an AMA with you guys and get all the awesome hype out there for that. And so thank you very much, everyone, for coming, for being involved, everyone for stepping up and asking questions and comments, and just everyone for coming and listening. So like I said, make sure you guys join Alpha Slayers, join their Discord, get involved, and be part of this rebirth and this revival of Alpha Slayers. And it should be something very awesome and something that hopefully a lot of people can get behind. So once again, thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and take care and have a great day.
Yeah, thanks as well. And yeah, everyone have a great day. And yeah, thanks everyone.
That wraps up another amazing AMA. Thank you for listening. Here at KPN, we strive to bring an open platform for projects being built on Kadena to present themselves to the community. Please ensure to do your own research on each project before investing. Also ensure to follow us on all our social media, from Twitter to subscribing to our weekly newsletter, to ensure to keep up to date on everything KDA related. You can find all the links in the description below. Take care.